Yo, yo, we here, we here. Oh, let me mute the film and let's get rocking. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy, the Ultimate Rage, coming back with yet another live here in the No Cap Zone, where we have a strict dress code. Knock it the hell off with that capping ass nonsense. The only kind of cap that we allow around these parts is your thinking cap. Otherwise, you got to move the hell around. Because around these parts, all we care about are the facts, the truth, the data, the information, the statistics. You know, things that can actually be demonstrated in real life. You know, like in real time, while we're actually literally alive and sane and of sound mind. Because otherwise I have no idea what these goofies out here be talking about. And to tell you the truth, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Which is why we, you and me, gotta talk about it. So let's talk about it. So before we continue, make sure you hit that like, turn on notifications, share everywhere, hit that follow, hit the website off9.com, join the fucking Discord where we're gonna be heading after the live, where we're gonna chill out, build community, where this is ground zero for how we're gonna change the world. Trust me, it's gonna happen. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking with me all this time. We finna keep it going. So, as I always ask around this bitch, what in the goddamn fuck are we doing, people? What exactly are we doing as a human race, as American citizens? What exactly are our goals? What exactly are our aims? What are we actually trying to do? What are we striving for? What are we pushing towards? What are we hoping to achieve in the grand scheme of all of time, of all of reality? What do we hope to have accomplished by the time everything is all said and done? Because if you ask me, motherfuckers don't know. They don't know. They don't have the slightest, the vaguest idea. That's why they're always so fucking vague. That's why when you ask people direct, clear, concrete, simple ass questions, they always hit you with what I call the tart talk, where they just start saying a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of fluff, where it sounds like what they're saying is super duper super deep and super highly intellectual and highly intelligent, except it's really not at all. In fact, it's very shallow. It's extremely, matter of fact, fuck shallowness, there ain't no water. That's how shallow their shit is. There's literally nothing there. Fuck water, there's nothing there. They have nothing. It's just a whole bunch of sci-fi fantasy gobbledygook, a whole bunch of flip flop. They might as well, because that's how they're talking. That's what they say. When you try to nail them down on some basic fact, some piece of data, you get a whole bunch of nothing from people. That's why I say that America is what I like to call the scam capital, the capital of the world, the divided states of corporations. Because nobody really knows what the hell they're doing. People subscribe to partisan politics, thinking that their side is somehow the best, and when you point out the facts that they're clearly like not that, matter of fact they fucking suck, now all of a sudden they want to start saying that you're a fascist or something. They want to start saying that you're just this evil, terrible, horrible, maniacal person who doesn't want to just be a bitch ass simp for their evil ass shenanigans, and that you're not helping them evil ass shenanigan stuff. You don't want to help them with their evil shenanigan stuff. And because you won't help them with their evil shenanigan stuff, by definition, that means that you're helping the other team with their evil, terrible, maniacal stuff. Whatever the fuck. And see, me, I am a proponent of, like, fuck the both of you. Y'all can both eat a dick. or a whole bag of them while you're at it. Because see, I try to be what's called a good person. So good people do not support evil knowingly. They do not knowingly commit acts of evil. Otherwise, what the fuck is the point? How can I say I'm a good person? I'm supporting evil shit. If I'm being an evil person, if I'm helping an evil organization, even if I'm doing it for the best of reasons, even if I think that what I'm doing is going to somehow help, how am I actually helping? How literally am I helping? Literally. How am I literally helping? Because see, when we ask these people what they are doing and how what they're doing actually helps, we get a bunch of tar talk from them. So that's why we got to start having real conversations, because people out here don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. They don't actually know what they're striving for. As I mentioned, as aforementioned, they say a bunch of vague, ambiguous ass bullshit. And now is the time to start being clear, concise, specific, direct, straightforward, clear. What are we doing? Because, see, I posit that what we should be doing is pushing towards complete, total, and utter understanding of our total reality. Whatever that means. Understanding how it all works. Understanding how it came to be, understanding where it's going, and ensuring that we can ensure our ability to survive while we continue on this process. Because the whole point is, we can't solve any major world problem if we're all fucking dead. Dead people can't do shit. Which is one of the biggest reasons why I have a major problem with these sci-fi fantasy ideologies, specifically those of theism, that posit that there's some supernatural, super intelligent, super thing out there that does stuff, says stuff, that invented stuff, that emotionally describes stuff and commands stuff and tells people stuff and tells people what they should and shouldn't do, and it goes back and forth and it flips on its own head and it can't figure out what it actually wants people to do, which is why one day it's mad at this group of people, but then the other day it's mad at that group of people. They're telling this group of people they're super special, but then it's telling that group of people that they're super special, and now these two groups are arguing over who's the super duper special people, because neither of them know what the fuck they're talking about, because they're all super fucking crazy. Yeah, basically, look, check it out. Theism is the belief in some supernatural deity, whatever the hell that means. I don't know what a deity is. It's some super duper something, whatever the fuck people love to talk about, but zero people have actually demonstrated that there's actually a such thing as that thing. So that's why I'm trying to figure out what these people are talking about. That's why I'm trying to understand why these people come out of the woodworks. They like to jump in the chat and they say all this tar talk ass dumb shit to try to distract from the conversation at hand, to try to distract from the fact that they literally have not a goddamn thing that they can present that's even noteworthy, that's even remotely of possessing of any kind of value. That's why there's so many tards out here tarding out the place. They get in high level positions, they attain positions of wealth and decision making, and they have us on the path of potentially destroying ourselves. And then they distract the entire world with all kinds of crazy ass tard shit to keep people occupied, so that they don't focus their pretty little heads on the problems at hand, so that those that claim to be addressing the problems at hand could continue kicking the can down the road, while they're constantly, repeatedly extracting resources from us, from our communities, so they can use those resources that they attained from us against us, so that they could continue improving their own ability to extract resources from us, rinse and repeat. So that's why I'm trying to get people to understand that this sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit is not helping us in any tangible, meaningful way. Okay, so they might be helping people create some kind of a community or something. What is the value of their weak ass community if nothing is getting done? If nothing is actually getting accomplished? If they aren't fixing anything? If they aren't solving any problems? If they can't even address the problems that need to be addressed, that need to be solved? If they aren't even willing to have an open dialogue about what the problems actually are? Because the real problem is that despite billions of people subscribing to this retarded ass ideology, exactly zero of them can demonstrate that it comports with the literal reality that we share and inhabit in real life. Okay, they all walk around, they'll fucking go to their sci-fi fantasy fan club meetups every week, right? They'll pay their weekly membership fees. Well, exactly, not a goddamn thing gets done at all. And I'm still trying to figure out what in the goddamn fuck these people are actually talking about. Why they insist on opening their big fat fucking mouths, on literally every single possible platform they can to blabber on about some super whatever thing that zero of them have ever demonstrated ever in life at all. And whenever we specifically, I mean directly, posit to these people, hey, can you please, I mean pretty please, demonstrate to us what in the goddamn fuck any of y'all are talking about, that's when all the problems start to arise. That's when they start to get super duper offensive and they start getting super emotional and they start talking in super duper tart talk. They start saying a bunch of stuff, saying it with a lot of passion as if somehow that like makes their tart shit less tardy somehow. Somehow they're just saying a bunch of fliffer and they think they're saying the fliffer like that somehow makes it less fucking retarded somehow. Somehow they think that coming at me with the snooty ass attitude, instead of just being honest that they don't know what the hell they're talking about, somehow helps their case. When I mean, because here's the core problem. The core tenet of all of theism is that all theists believe that there's some kind of mystical, supernatural something, some super duper super thing that supposedly exists, that supposedly, I guess, somehow created everything, but it also somehow directly communicates with these people somehow. And yet when we ask these people, what in the goddamn fuck are you talking about? Show us the communication method. All of a sudden they got a bunch of nothing. Why would they feel the need to explain things? Simple. Put it to you like this. If I'm trying to sell you a product, right? And I'm trying to convince you that this product is fucking amazing and awesome. This product is the greatest fucking product you ever seen in your life. Let's just say for the sake of argument, it's a fucking mop. I'm trying to sell you a mop, and I'm trying to tell you, yo, this mop is worth it to buy, yo. For $15.99.99, you could get this amazing mop that does all of this stuff that's so amazing that how could you not want to buy this mop? And yet when you ask me, okay, well, what does it actually do? And I come at you and I say, well, why don't you find out for yourself? Huh? Why I gotta do your job for you? Why don't you just buy the fucking mop, dude? Why don't you buy the fucking mop? I told you it's the greatest fucking mop in the fucking world. Why don't you just buy the fucking mop and give me the $15.99.99? What are we doing? See, that's gonna make you like not want to buy the mop. Cause you asked me a simple question. What does the mop do? For somebody who's trying to sell you a mop, wouldn't it strike you as odd that I'm trying to sell you a mop, but I can't tell you the basics of what it does? Matter of fact, fuck that. I won't even show you the mop. I keep telling you there's this mop that's just the greatest mop of all time, and you should really, really buy it. Not only should you should buy it from me. I can sell you this amazing super duper uber mop. And all you ask me is, okay, well, what does it do? And all of a sudden I'm giving you a fucking problem because you asked me what the hell this amazing super duper mop can do. But I'm steady telling you to give me the $15.99.99. As if you're just gonna cough up $15.99.99 for something that you don't even know even exists. Why the hell would you do that? if you did that, you would be the stupidest fucking person on earth. That you would give me $15.99.99 for a mop that I didn't even show you. I ain't show you that it even exists, that it works as well as I claim, and that the value is so great that you should cough up that $15.99.99 right now. And I'm the one trying to sell it to you. See, this is how sales work. If I'm selling you the product, it is my job to do the best damn job I can to convince you to buy this fucking product. I'm not going to convince you by arguing with you. I'm not going to convince you by ridiculing you, by hitting you with veiled threats or straight up direct threats. I'm not going to word game you into buying the mop. You're not gonna say, but see, here's the thing though. Can you prove it's not real though? Can you prove the mop is not real? It's so amazing, this mop. I'm telling you, can you prove it's not real? That's not going to incentivize you to buy the mop. If anything, you will more than likely decide, you know what? Get the fuck away from my house before I call the cops. Okay, you already saw the sign that said no soliciting. Why the fuck are you soliciting, disrespecting my fucking house? But that's neither here nor there. You solicitors gonna solicit because that's how solicitors work. But the least you could do is at least try to fucking sell me. Try to at least make an attempt. Otherwise, what the hell is the point? How I'm trying to sell you the mop, but I'm telling you, you need to go find out on your own that this mop exists and that it's so great and this, that. When nobody's ever seen the mop, ever. Nobody's ever seen this mop in real life, in action, doing the thing that these people claim that it does. Yes, they do pay for stuff. What up? What up? They do pay. Matter of fact, they're the only ones paying. Where do you think the church gets its money? The Lord? Ha! 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 No, silly. They get it from yo dumbass. Dumbass. That's the point. They need you. The church needs yo ass. That's what the tithes and the offerings are for you to pay their bills, to help them pay their light bill and their air conditioning bill. But how does that help the world? That's the question. That's the problem. This for you to be paying the money, for you to put the money in the collection plate, what is the purpose of doing that? How does that literally help the world? Think about the fact that there are literally 5, 6 billion theists in the world of various different kinds. You got 2.4 billion Christians. You got 2.3 billion Muslims. You got 1.4 billion Hindus. That's like 4 billion right there. Just with those 3 religions. 3 religions. 4 billion people, that's like half the world. Of 8 billion people in the world, about 4 billion of them belong to just the 3 big religions. That doesn't even count all the little whatever the fucks that's out there. The point is, what does it accomplish? What does it literally actually accomplish? What are they doing as a result? What have they fixed? What have they cured? What have they completed? What have they done that is so fucking great that we are like, wow, look at what the church did. Look at what the mosque did. Look at what the synagogue did. What they are doing is so amazing and so awesome and helpful to humanity that I'm going to be a member and I'm going to contribute to actually furthering their goals, because their goals are so great that why would I not want to help them? But that's the problem. Whenever we ask these questions in real life, very difficult to get real, true, clear-cut, concrete answers. These should be the simplest questions in the world. I mean, they own everything. They're in every position in government, including the highest of levels. Okay, the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, motherfucking Secretary of State, damn near all of Congress, damn near all the Supreme Court, 2/3 of the population, about 62% of the American population. So, about 200 million Americans. And yet, we can't get any answers from any of them, not one. We can't get a clear-cut, concrete answer as to where the supposed deity is. And it would really help if you're going to be in a position of leadership where you're going to make, these things called decisions, particularly those of which that affect, like, every fucking body else. Right? Like, it would kind of help for you to be sane, for you to be reasonable, for you to be logical, for you to be reality-based, so that when you are making your decisions, you can be the most effective and efficient. See, because when you just leave decisions up to chance or you base them on fictional tales, yeah, that's what we would call retarded. That would be stupid as fuck. That would be idiotic as hell. Because why? We live in what's called the information age. We have these things called cell phones, which have what's called Wi-Fi, which means that you have direct access to the internet, which means that you have direct access to information at your fingertips, which means you have no excuse at all to not know what the hell you're fucking talking about. Because if there's something you didn't know, you can literally just look it the fuck up right now. And not only that, but you can actually cross-check your references to ensure that you're not being misled by some goofy online that said some dumbass bullshit, so that you can ensure that your information is legit and therefore not bullshit. But see, the problem is we live in this time where despite all the information that's available, people still think it's cool as fuck to be stupid as fuck. That it's cool as hell to be ignorant as hell. That it makes sense not to make a goddamn lick of sense. That it makes more sense to listen to some retard from fucking 2,500 years ago who was suffering from various psychological disorders than somebody right now who's showing you data, facts, information, statistics to your fucking face from some of the most reputable sources in the fucking history of the world. That's why it's so absurd to me for somebody to sit here and say, well, why do they have to explain themselves to you? Well, if you're trying to sell me on your retarded ass idea, the least you could do is actually like try to make it make sense. Try to like inspire me to want to be a part of your team by showing me that it's actually sensible to some degree, reasonable to some degree. Because I'm not some dumbass like y'all motherfuckers out here. I don't just fall for shit. I don't just be believing shit. And look, that's not to say that, oh, I ain't never failed for nothing. I ain't never made a mistake. I've done that. In fact, that's one of the main reasons why I can say what I say. Because I've fallen for dumb shit in the past, and I learned my lesson. Like, okay, duly noted. These are the signs of bullshit. And that's why I'm showing you the signs now. The fact that you even have to ask me, why should they have to demonstrate what they're talking about? Like, that's so insane. I can't believe that any person in 2026 has to explain why you should demonstrate what the hell you're talking about instead of just saying shit. Because people say a lot of retarded ass dumb shit. They say a lot of baseless, unjustified bullshit. Motherfuckers will see some retarded ass meme and they'll just run with that shit. They won't even think twice about fact checking that garbage. All the motherfucker gotta do is snap some retarded ass images together, say some, oh, in 1966 President Carter did some dumb shit, and then some dumbass is gonna run with that because they don't know Carter wasn't the president in 66. But all they had to do was Google it right now, and it's the easiest fucking shit. Matter of fact, I can say, look, I should know this, but who was the president in 1966? It was Lyndon Baines Johnson. Oh yeah, duh, because fucking John F. Kennedy got assassinated. Yeah, so, but the fact of the matter is, we have these abilities right now, and people still, to this day, choose not to employ them right now. But some of these people will attain positions of government. They'll attain positions in executive suites of major fucking LLCs and multinational corporations and shit. And they'll be completely detached from reality. Or worse, they'll be completely attached to reality, but they'll serve some retarded ass purpose like greed or power or fucking hunger, whatever the fuck, to the detriment of everybody else. And then we wonder why America's falling apart. Then we wonder why loonies like Trump become president twice. And why the loonies that hate Trump suck so bad that they lost to his dumbass twice. How the fuck do you lose to they're eating the dogs? They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs and the cats. They're eating... Like, how the fuck you lose to that? How fucking terrible do you have to be to lose to that? What the fuck, bro? You mean to tell me you can't mention a single policy or stance that people would like, not one time, to get people excited, to get people to be like, yo, fuck that eating the dogs and cats bullshit, that racist ass dumb shit. Like, you lost to that. And not just lost, like, got your ass handed to you to that, by that. In the modern age, like, we're not talking about 2026 BC, right? I could understand how they're eating the dogs and cats could entertain some ancient retards, right? But one would think that in the modern day, people would at least be like slightly less tarded, but they're not. But you don't help yourself when you're like, oh yeah, well they're eating the cats and dogs. Well, at least I'm not you. Look, see, I'm not Trump. Yeah, that's not good enough, fucker. What the hell is wrong with you? Wait, you really thought that saying you're not him was somehow going to win you over more than just being like, hey, here's what I stand for. Pushing for policies that people like, that people want, that test well, that actually are like very, very, very highly supported by members of both major parties. Yeah, that's the type of shit I'm pushing for. The shit that the people want that's actually going to help them. Yeah, I'm all about that. Do you not know how pathetic it is that you're supposed to be the good party, and yet you lose half the time to these supposed crazies? How crazy do you have to be to lose to a bunch of fucking crazies? That's why it trips me out when I have these moments, like when I'm online and I have to deal with these tards online, because it just trips me out, like how you can present people with facts, data, information, statistics, evidence, and people will still say retarded ass dumb shit. Here's an example, okay? So there's this post I saw online. So I'm on Facebook. I would show y'all, but the internet be on some bullshit. Well, I can try to show y'all on here. So there's this post. I don't know if y'all can see it. Okay, it says in 1998, Bill Clinton ended 30 years of deficit, bringing the federal budget to zero deficit. He went on to deliver record surpluses, 22.7 million jobs, 4.7 unemployment, and the longest peacetime expansion. All right. I'm sick of posts like this. I'm so sick of this partisan garbage because I've never heard anybody say, you know what? There's a budget surplus, my life is complete. Or there's a budget deficit, oh no, what's gonna happen? Maybe if you have like stocks or some shit, but even then, I've never heard somebody say, oh my god, the world is gonna end because there's a budget deficit. But here's what's more important. These type of posts are, I mean, the propaganda is just outrageous. Outrageous. Because one of the things I always have to explain to people is that the devil is in the details. The devil is in the framing. Because, see, posts like these are propaganda. And I'll show you exactly how they're propaganda. Because they're misleading. Because they're lacking the context. They're lacking the actual context of what they were juxtaposed to, right? Because see, here's the thing. Most people are completely ignorant when it comes to legislation. Obviously, right? Who the fuck is paying attention to the laws that are being passed, the bills that are being introduced and argued over? Who the fuck is sitting around watching C-SPAN all day? Who the fuck keeps up with all the fucking decisions being made? Who are keeping up with all of the arguments that are being made and the interpretations of different legislation and court cases and precedent and all that type of shit? Very few. Even people who are super duper political wonks half the time don't know half the shit. Because there's so much shit. And unless you're a fucking lawyer and you're practicing law, 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna know shit about law. At all. That's one of the reasons why I watch a lot of crime shit. Because it's absolutely crazy to see the Dunning-Kruger effect, like, straight up in front of your face. When you see these loonies who are clearly detached from reality talk so, like, matter-of-factly as if they are so well-informed of their rights and all these type of things. Especially when you see, like, these sovereign citizens who just, I don't know what the fuck that shit is about. A bunch of tard ass garbage. But I'm talking like these fucking loonies who've never heard of the word bar, let alone taken any kind of a bar exam, talking as if they're such like lawyers and political wonks, like that they understand to a T what the law is and what their rights are and all this type of shit. So it's like, me, I'm not one of those type of people. I am hyper aware that I don't know everything. That's one of the reasons why I like to show y'all stuff while I'm looking at stuff and show y'all things that I found along the way that you might not be aware of, because I did the work. One of the good things about me not having had a job for all these years is that all I had was time on the internet. But I'm not a lot like these tards that are out here that fall into these weird corners of the internet that make them radicalize and start tarding out and being super tards, worshipping loonies like Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, talking about some weird revolution that they're pushing towards. No, I've done a lot of data gathering, fact gathering, information gathering, actual data. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know everything, because look, people always show me things that I was previously unprivy to, and that's why I appreciate coming across people of various backgrounds who can give me nuggets of data that I may not have previously known, because all it does is arm me to be even stronger than an army that are just blind followers of some loser. No, I am armed with the information, armed with the data, which is why it's so easy for me to just show you. And that's why I do it. That's what I do. on a constant basis. So at the end of the day, that's why it's strictly super important that if you're gonna try to sell me an idea, that you make sure you have your fucking pitch airtight, because you're not just gonna sell me like some tard on the street. You're not just gonna hit me with some bullshit propaganda or some bullshit advert and think that you're gonna convince me with that crap. Okay? Because I'm not that simple. You might convince some tard on the street with that craziness, but not I. Like, I have a system of standards. I have a set of standards that don't allow me to be fooled by somebody I don't know or some charlatan or some goof. Even if you are somebody I know, you're not gonna fucking just bullshit me. Now you gotta actually like demonstrate what you're talking about. Why would I buy your fucking mop for $15.99 if you can't even show me the mop? And yet people are willing to give their fucking lives, literally their whole entire life, for something that has never been demonstrated ever. That's the craziest thing in the fucking world. It's one thing, okay, I'm gonna give you $15.99 for a mop that you never even show me even exists, right? But somehow people have been convinced to give up and lay down their fucking lives for an idea, for a supposed deity or something that they have never been shown ever. And not only that, will never be shown. That's why I do what I do. That's why I get on my soapbox and say, okay, what the fuck is that shit? The moment that motherfuckers start saying shit like, oh, I ain't gotta show nothing to you, that's the moment you should be shutting the fuck up. Because how the fuck are you talking to me? I don't understand it. Like, I tell people all the time, you ever seen a commercial that actually told the truth? That told you verbatim, like, okay, this new TV we came out with, it's like a 3.2 out of 5. It's solid. It's got some good visuals, but it might, a couple pixels might fall out. You know what I'm saying? And we've had reports that it might malfunction. You might actually need that 1-year warranty, bro, because it might go out on you in the next month. Right? Like, you're trying to sell me a product, and you want me to pay dearly for this product. You're not just trying to sell me a pack of gum. If it was a pack, here's this fucking $5, bro. Here. Give me the whole box. Give me the whole fucking box. But you want to fucking try to sell me a box that you don't have? You want me to pay full price right now for a potential reward that I may receive after I die? What the hell kind of scam is that? That is the greatest scam I ever heard of in my life. That I don't receive the reward until I die, except you have failed to demonstrate that there is an actual life after death. To begin with. See, I don't live in the world of fantasy. I don't live in the world of, oh, well, somebody said it, therefore I'm just gonna believe it because I'm a fucking tard. No. I actually like knowing what the hell I'm talking about. Actually demonstrating what I am saying and showing you that what I meant means business. I don't just fuck around. I don't just say shit because it sounds cute. I actually meant what the hell I said. I'm actually telling people things that I know from experience. I have been in all kind of churches all across the country. I was a Christian. I subscribed to the idea. I went to a Christian school to search for the deeper meaning, to gain the understanding, to accrue the wisdom from the elders of the church so that they can bless me with the knowledge and the data and the information that will allow me to deepen my relationship with the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, until I realized I didn't have a relationship with shit. I wasn't doing shit. I don't even know what the hell I was doing. I was just talking like every fucking body else. Because even after I got saved, I didn't feel no different. Life didn't change. It didn't get better. It wasn't like, okay, now that I'm with the Lord, now I got this glow that allows me to do these special things that I couldn't have done without him. I don't even know what the hell I just said. But that's the way that I used to think when I subscribed to that ideology, and that's the way that these people think. After they subscribe to the ideology, they think that they gain some kind of special insight, some kind of special powers, or some kind of special glow. Ain't nothing special about it. Matter of fact, the only thing that's special is you might need some special education because you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and it is too easy to demonstrate. That's one of the reasons why real life is one of the biggest mindfucks in the world, right? Because a lot of people, would think, how can billions of people be fucking wrong as hell? How can so many people subscribe to an idea that's completely factually incorrect? How can so many people believe something that's wrong? Right? It's like, say, and I hate to use this analogy, but it's like when you have these Me Too situations, right? A guy gets accused of being inappropriate with the woman. Now all of a sudden here come all these women that say, no, he was inappropriate with me too. He was inappropriate with me too. One of the reasons why these dudes end up getting buried, why they end up doing a lot of the time, is because why would these women come out of the woodworks to accuse a dude of some shit that's not true? Why would they put their own reputations on the line? Why would they put their own reputations at risk if it wasn't true? Why would they all make up a lie about this dude if he didn't do what they said he did? And so in the same way, we have billions of people saying, no, there's this super thing and it's super great and it's super awesome and it's super amazing. The question becomes, well, how can billions of people all believe that and say that and all be wrong? How is that possible? It can't be, right? These people have to be right. They have to be onto something. But see, the only problem with that thinking is that it's fallacious. Because one of the things I learned about reality is that a lot of times the thing that you intuit is not necessarily the truth. A lot of times the opposite is true. Sometimes reality is backwards. Sometimes the thing that you would think would be so crazy is actually the truth. That billions of people can be so fucking wrong. That even though they all agree that yes, there's this thing, 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 100% of them can be incorrect, can be false, can be inaccurate, can not know what the hell they're talking about, despite the fact that they all seem to agree somehow. All it takes is one of these people, one time, to show us that whatever they're purporting is actually literally the truth. And that would completely change our entire worldview as a society. An atheist and anti-theist like me would have to shut the fuck up and be like, you know what, you guys are right. You Christians, you Muslims, you Hindus, or whoever the fuck was proven right was right. Now I have to subscribe to your idea because you've actually demonstrated it with clear-cut, concrete evidence, and I can't argue against it. There is no hole that I can poke. The Lord is right there. He's right here. He's literally right here. I can't, no matter how I try to argue, the Lord is literally right there. That never happens. That never, ever fucking happens, and it will never happen because theists don't know where the Lord is. They talk about it all fucking day. They talk like it's the greatest thing in the fucking world, like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. The Lord is this, the Lord is that, the Lord, God, 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 God. They love saying this shit all day, every single fucking day. And yet not a single one time, not one theist, one single time can present to us any shred of evidence of the Lord in any form. I'm talking about any form. All they have is their old ancient sci-fi fantasy fucking novel. That's it. Some novel where some guy said that there's this thing that's a guy that said some shit. And of course, they're vague about this God thing. There's no clear-cut, concrete definition of this God thing. There's no demonstration of this God thing. There's no, okay, well, it is a solid, liquid, gas, plasma. It is made up of these chemicals. It resides at this specific location. It is reachable via this particular method. It can be detected using this tool or these sets of tools, and we can replicate that every time right now. For every claim made about the supposed thing, 0 people demonstrated. 0. Out of billions. Billions upon billions. And this is what I refer to as the ultimate rage paradox. You mean to tell me that over 2,000 plus years, billions of people have existed on Earth that all agreed to this facsimile of an idea, to the point where today, literally more than half the world agrees to some form of this idea, right? Like I said earlier, at least half the world subscribes to just 3 religions: Christianity, Islam, Hinduism. 3 religions, half the world, and yet 0 of them, 0, a big fat fucking 0 of them could demonstrate any of the sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit that they be talking about. And every single time, 100% of the time that you give them an opportunity to demonstrate any of their sci-fi fantasy crap, none of them, I repeat, none, not even the nuns, can show us any of their crap today, right now. It is 4:58 p.m. Central Standard Time on August the 26th, 2026, and not a single fucking theist of any kind can show us their theistic garbage right now. Because if they could, then why the fuck don't they? Right now. This second. Shut an atheist like me the fuck up right now. Matter of fact, convert an atheist like me, an anti-theist like me, to theism, to your particular brand of theism right now, with your super duper solid, stone cold, concrete, clear cut, smoking gun evidence right now. But see, the problem is theists don't have that, nor will they ever have that, because it's not real. It's simply not real. So that brings us to the question of the day, the question that's being posited in the fucking title of this live. You got 6 billion theists in the world. What do they actually produce? What are the results that they bring to us? How exactly do they make the world a better place? Starting right now. What can we point to right now that we're like, oh yes, what they're doing is so fantastic? One of the things motherfuckers might say is, oh, well, they created a lot of orphanages. They got a lot of orphanages to help protect the youth. Yeah? Word? So, this is an article I've been trying to talk about for a while. And I've just been forgetting to show you. I got actually several articles like this. I wish I could show y'all the video. It's 13 minutes and 15 seconds long. So you're just going to have to check that on CBS News. But we'll check a little bit out of it. We'll check it a little bit. Let's watch a little bit of it. Let's watch a little bit of it.
Thousands of newborns from their unwed mothers and put them. During the 1950s, the Catholic Church in Belgium separated thousands of newborns from their unwed mothers and put them up for adoption, often without the mother's consent. The women were shamed into surrendering their babies by their families and a powerful church. In 2024, Pope Francis apologized for those forced adoptions. But Belgians weren't the only victims. From 1950 to 1970,
Yeah, so, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Yeah, so, these are the types of things that happen when you let a bunch of tards fucking get in position to make decisions that affect other people's lives. That's why we question the authenticity of their fucking crazy ass beliefs. Because if what they believed was so awesome, why the fuck do they have to apologize then? If they were being fucking commanded by some super intelligent super thing, then it would have been able to know that what it was doing was going to cause these people to have to apologize for their retarded ass behavior for fucking failing society. But see, that goes to show you that these people didn't actually know what the hell they were talking about. And you know, it's okay. It's okay to not know what you're talking about. Just be honest. Just be like, look, I think this is what it is. I'm not going to say for a fact that's what it is, but this is what my intuition is telling me. This is what my gut is telling me. This is the feeling that I got in my heart and my mind and my soul. Okay, I can give you that. You might be incorrect, but at least you're honest. But these people aren't fucking honest. And this is the type of shit that they do. And also, the reason why I press the pause buttons, because you know, I'm not entirely sure about all this internet shit, but if I play more than 30 seconds of the video, the live can get fucking muted, and that's happened before already. Can't play more than 30 seconds. I gotta figure out the whole deal, because we're supposed to have fucking, you know, fair use and all that type of shit, but you should know how the internet be. So I stopped it at 28 seconds, and I'll give y'all another 28 seconds or so.
Vatican sent 3,500 Italian children to America on something called an orphan visa. The trouble was, most were not orphans. Like their Belgian counterparts, they too were the children of unwed mothers. Many mothers later went searching for their children, only to discover they had been sent across an ocean. As we first reported in 2024, thousands of American adoptees are still struggling to piece together their lost lives.
This is what happens, fam. That's what happens when you allow a bunch of tards to start making decisions that affect the lives of others, and you give them carte blanche to do so. Now, decades later, they gotta apologize for destroying families for no good goddamn fucking reason. Okay? This is what we have to do. This is what we have to deal with as a society. Okay? This is just one out of so many situations, and as you all know, this is just the tip of the fucking iceberg. We ain't even really got into none of the crazy shit yet. This is just the soft shit, even though of course you all know where it's going. You all know where it's going, but I wanted to show y'all this other article. Article from earlier today. Now, I thought this is actually very, very insightful, because I just found out there's actually a non-believer in Congress. Who the fucking thought? I didn't. Check it out. So this is an article by The Guardian called "A Bible-Sized Blind Spot. Congressman Sounds Alarm on Rising Christian Nationalism." Now, this guy, ironically, is a godsend. Even though I might not agree with all his shit, but hey. It says here, crosses, shofars, and appeal to heaven flags. Rioters praying with their hands aloft as police officers are brutalized. January 6, 2021 is widely remembered as a deadly insurrection by supporters of Donald Trump, but for Congressman Jared Huffman, who was locked down alone in his office that day, something else stands out. It was a very Christian coup. Now, before I continue, I have mixed feelings about January 6th. I'm not like everybody else where I'm like, oh, it was terrible, horrible. Because, as many of you may or may not know, I'm not the most patriotic American in the fucking world. Matter of fact, I'm probably the least patriotic American. Motherfuckers might even say I'm a traitor. Right? Because I don't stand for the fucking flag. I don't stand for this fucking Constitution. I don't stand for this weak-ass, trash-ass country that literally formed enslaving my ancestors. Like, you're crazy if you think I'm gonna be standing for that. Fuck that. Okay? At the same time, I've said this before. I'm not fully against January 6th. I'm against why they did it. This what he said. It was a very Christian coup. I'm against that. But I'm not against the fact that they did it. Because the fact of the matter is that America has long since lacked legitimacy. From its inception, it lacked legitimacy. How can you call yourself the land of the free, but you gotta make an amendment to your constitution saying, actually, we're gonna abolish slavery, except when it comes to prisons. So therefore, we're gonna create a prison industrial complex where we're still gonna enslave black people. We're just gonna say that they're criminals and create this whole entire fucking criminal industry. Yeah, we'll create a crime industry where we can make money enslaving black men. Yeah, we'll just do it like that. That's what I have a disagreement with. What I don't disagree with is the fact that people stormed the fucking Capitol. Because the fact of the matter is, and I show y'all this all the time. Give me a second here. Where is it? Here we go. So check it out. So this is the Global Peace Index, which ranks 163 countries based on 23 quantitative and qualitative indicators. So 163 countries. The lower the score, the more peaceful the country, which means out of 163 countries, number 1 is the most peaceful, and number 163 would be the least peaceful. Okay? That means don't go there. It is an active war zone, guaranteed to hit an IED of some sort. Now, what you will see on this list, right, is that number 1 is not America. Matter of fact, you'll see America's not even in the top 10. Wait, oh, that's Malaysia right there. Matter of fact, when it comes to America, you have to go all the way down, all the way turned down, all the way turned down. Yeah, because we're all the way down at 134 out of 163 countries. So by definition, we are living in a very non-peaceful country. So why would you be surprised that people would start an uprising? People are not the fucking happiest, fam. People are not just having a great time. How could they when they live in a society that's chaotic as fuck? Being ran by a bunch of fucking tards who don't know what the hell they're talking about. People from both major parties who get in the office and they tard the fuck out all the fucking time. And think about it, right? Think about this. So, Trump lost the election in 2020, which is what sparked the January 6th incident. Whatever. The Trumpites, the MAGAs, and whoever the fuck, they claim that the election was stolen, right? Now, me, I don't know if that's true or not, because personally, it doesn't matter. How are we supposed to trust any election results when there's no transparency, like, at all? Right? So then, ironically, in 2024, I swear to God, or after 2024, I've seen a bunch of lefty libbies tell me that the 2024 election was stolen. How do we determine an election is stolen or not? What metrics, what measurements, what tools do we use What's the methodology for ensuring that the election is not stolen? See, these are the types of questions that should be asked, because how can we ever hope to believe that any election has ever been legitimate? People never stop to think about how these things actually work. And even the people who are in the rooms who are doing the counting can tell you straight up there's no transparency. They might assure you, no, everything is being done by the book and all that type of shit. But the lack of transparency is what delegitimizes everything that they say, because we can never ever trust them. Considering the amount of propaganda that they constantly put out to this day, considering a lot of the fucking bullshit they've done throughout world history, throughout America's existence, the things that they've never apologized for, the lack of reparations for slavery, in fact, the literal current attempt to try to erase history right now and rewrite history to where, no, actually it wasn't that. Matter of fact, it didn't even happen. It ain't even happen. And you literally want me, a black man, to respect this fucking bullshit that's been directly against me? Out of your fucking mind. That said, all of that said, like I said, I don't disagree with January 6th. But I don't agree with why they did it. I don't disagree with the fact that they did it. You're never gonna get me to feel sympathy for some weak ass politician, a politician who helped us create the dystopia that we have today. I'm never gonna feel sorry for you fucking psychos. I'm never gonna feel any empathy for these retarded ass psychos that would never listen to somebody like me to begin with, that would never give a fuck about my life or what the fuck I've been going through this whole entire time, not even gave a fuck about trying to help me at all. So you will never get any empathy from me for them. But that being said, I am against a bunch of psychotic Christians taking over America. So if we continue with the article, mind you, I haven't read this article. We're going through this together. God damn it, this fucking mouse. Driving me fucking crazy. So, this Christian nationalist movement that I had seen growing so much stronger and more militant during my time in Congress erupted in plain view, Huffman 62 says by phone from his home in Marin County, California. I truly believed January 6th would be the wake-up call our country needed to confront this movement, to understand it, and to hold it to account. Unfortunately, the country went back to sleep, and many of my own colleagues who the mob wanted to kill that day didn't even seem to notice the religious elements of the group that was trying to kill them. You know, I'm glad that he said that, because one thing he doesn't, one thing the guy may not realize, that his colleagues, a lot of them, if not all of them, are super duper Christy Christians. I learned, in fact, from this article. Matter of fact, let's just keep reading. That is a big part of why Huffman is now deciding to sound an alarm of his own with the new book, No Prophets, The Fight to Save Democracy from Christian Nationalism. Contending that the U.S. has a Bible-sized blind spot, it argues that the theocratic insurgency has only grown more powerful after Trump's return to power and is now the country's most dangerous political movement, a greater threat to science education and freedom than most people realize. No one is better qualified to make this case than Huffman, the only current member of Congress to admit he does not believe in God. He grew up in Independence, Missouri, the home of former President Harry Truman and historic headquarters of the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, now the Community of Christ, an offshoot of Mormonism. A devout Christian, Huffman was ordained into priesthood. The first crack in his faith occurred during the sophomore year of college at UC Santa Barbara. The sudden death of his father triggered some questioning. The bottom line is the supernatural tenets of my faith, the God belief, the notion of heaven and hell and miracles and so forth no longer works for me. That's a hard thing when you live off the innately doing thing. Now let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. That is a bunch of fucking cap. Not the shit about his dad and all this type of shit, but this last paragraph. Universal values, not part of the Christian gospel at all. What universal values? What universal values are available in all sorts of faith perspectives? Because if that were true, how did we get here then? How did we get here? But check this out. It says, for decades, Huffman kept his secular worldview private. In 2013, on his first day in Congress, he stood sheepishly before House Speaker John Boehner, who asked, all right, who's going to hold the Bible for the swearing-in photo op? Huffman's devout mother was beaming in the background. Caught off guard, Huffman put his hand on the Bible, a moment that left him feeling sullied and hypocritical. The turning point came in 2017. Huffman's mother had died, removing the fear of breaking her heart, and it just so happened to coincide with the fact that Trump had entered the White House, opening the floodgates of religious extremism. But when Huffman decided to go public as a non-believer, his wife, brother, senior staff, and political advisors warned him it was a terrible career-wrecking idea. So this is what I'm talking about. That is the sad part. That because he's in the position that he's in, that's why he still says a bunch of stuff to capitulate to these tards that are out here that fucking say this type of shit. And I'm not trying to say anything negative about his family, right? I don't know them, but I got family. They're like the same things. And, you know, I say all the time that we're all retarded. And that goes for me, too, as an atheist and anti-theist. I call myself the ultimate rage because I have an unjustified, irrational anger, even though a lot of my anger is rational when you see what I'm about to talk about. But it's the fact that because he's a politician, he still has to capitulate to these fucking loonies. And so instead of arguing against the religion in and of itself, he just argues against religious extremism. The only problem is what people don't realize is that religion is extreme. Let me repeat this. Religion in and of itself is extreme. You're believing something that's extremely fucking wrong. That's extremely disconnected from fucking reality as a whole. So just because you might not believe kill all the gays doesn't mean that you're not any less extreme. Because you believe some extremely retarded ass garbage. And as a result, you're willing to do things that are probably antisocial as a result of your bullshit belief without even realizing that what you're doing is antisocial. That's not to say that what you do is indeed antisocial. I know plenty of Christians, plenty of people of various religions who might not be fully antisocial, but when it comes time to having discussions about real life situations, the things that they say tend to be on the really, really retarded ass side of things. So that's why inevitably we end up getting into these kind of discussions. You know exactly where the fuck I'm gonna go. You know exactly where the fuck I'm gonna go because we end up going here all the fucking time. Because these things happen damn near every fucking day. Never ending. And so that's why I always have to talk about these stories. That's why I have to bring it to your attention. That's why I have to show you these kinds of fucking things. Like, check this out. I can't show you the actual article. At least I don't think, because, you know, paywalls and shit. This is the Ojai Valley News. Whatever the fuck that's at. But it says, former Live Oak Christian Fellowship pastor charged with 3 felony counts of guess fucking what? Now, let's see. So yeah, so they hit us with the fucking paywall, so I can't show you the article, but the fact remains that this is a recent story that occurs. A story from 2 days ago. Can't fucking read it because the company needs to make their money, and they really think motherfuckers gonna pay some kind of bread to read their fucking whack ass article. But whatever. Let me see. Here we go. Check this out. So, according to the CBC, Saskatchewan Appeal Court overturns dismissal of lawsuit alleging abuse at private Christian school. Former students very, very happy, lawyer says. Note the time. Hannah Spray, the writer for CBC News. This is from yesterday at 2:08 p.m. Central. It says, a proposed class action lawsuit alleging abuse at a private Christian school in, it says Saskatchewan. In Saskatoon will continue. The lawsuit against Mile 2 Church, the provincial government, and individuals involved with Legacy Christian Academy was dismissed last year after the judge ruled there was abusive process because the rest of the defendants weren't immediately notified when settlements were reached with 3 others. But former students appealed, and on Tuesday, the Saskatchewan Court of Appeal, I was right. The Saskatchewan Court of Appeal issued this decision in their favor. The 3-judge panel found there was no evidence the integrity of the court process had been compromised or that the defendants were prejudiced. For these reasons, an abusive process did not occur. Accordingly, the plaintiff's appeal must be allowed and they should be permitted to proceed with their action. The statement of claim alleges that students were physically, emotionally, and sexually abused. They alleged there were severe beatings with large wooden paddles, exorcisms, and solitary confinement. Caitlin Erickson, one of the plaintiffs in the proposed class action, says she is grateful the appeal court heard their case and restored the civil action. We never doubted that this case belonged before the court, she said. Although this decision comes after a disappointing and unnecessary delay, due process has now prevailed. So I guess this is her, one of the victims. So the question is, why are there so fucking many victims? Why is this happening constantly? Why are these stories happening all of the time? So much so that we could just find them and find them and find them and find them. Mind you, this is a story from fucking yesterday. This isn't a story that I had to drum up from 25 years ago that was buried in the archives. This is from fucking yesterday at the CBC. Okay, so, like, these are things that are constantly happening all the fucking time, and yet nothing fucking changes. And through it all, the Lord still hasn't been found to be reached for comment. Oh, look at this. Will you look at this? Now check this out. Now I want y'all to peep this shit. And then we're going to juxtapose it with another article that we've discovered recently. New law says clergy not legally bound to report disclosures of abuse made in confession. Huh, doesn't that sound a lot like fucking deja vu? Check this out. Clergy in England who are told about incidents of child sexual abuse during confession will not be legally bound to report the disclosures to authorities when the new law comes into force next year. A new mandatory reporting law, which is part of the Crime and Policing Act, states that those working, volunteering, or undertaking relevant activity with children must report any abuse disclosures. Section 85 of the Act says the duty applies to people undertaking regulated activity. However, confession has not been classified as a regulated activity, so will be exempt from the reporting requirement. The fact that a priest hears confessions does not make the hearing of confession a regulated activity. Earlier this year, the Church of England's lead bishop for safeguarding, retired Reverend Robert Springett, told General Synod that the responsibility is firmly in our court. Now, I just need to know how in the fuck can Christians seriously sit here and pretend that they're morally superior to anybody if this is the law that they fucking push for? That they love this shit. That they are exempt from bearing responsibility for protecting the children in their own community. We're not talking about the community writ large or some other community. No, in their communities. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I wanted to juxtapose that to another story that we covered very recently. That was damn near almost the exact same shit. So check this out. So this is from a couple weeks ago. Literally a couple weeks ago. Arizona court shields clergy confessions. Justices rule church leaders can't be forced to report abuse disclosed in confession. The Arizona State Supreme Court ruled that church leaders do not need to report cases of sexual abuse disclosed during confessions to authorities in a lawsuit brought against a man who confessed to Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints bishops to sexually abusing his daughter. Wow. Wow. So look, we got two separate countries, two separate jurisdictions that both agree on the exact same shit, that the church does not have to disclose their inability to protect the children of their own communities. If a child gets raped by some fucking weirdo in the church in the name of God, well, that's just like their problem. That's just like their problem. Like, who cares? Like, the country shouldn't have, the church should not have to answer or should have to report. But they're so morally superior, you would think that they'd be happy to do it anyway, even without this law. Or even with this law, you would think that they would be so morally amazing that they would come out and say, you know what? We don't give a fuck about this bullshit ass law. We're gonna report every single possible time some weirdo attacks our children because A, we're godly or whatever. B, we actually care about the well-being and welfare of our children. And C, we're law-abiding citizens and we don't like to see crimes committed against our own, by our own. Said no Christian ever, bro. That's not what they say. They don't say this shit. They're fucking, this is what they want. Christians love to pretend like they're totally schmodally against child abuse and child rape and all that. but their actions suggest otherwise. That's why I'm so aggressive about addressing this issue, because I'm seeing the pattern. This isn't just an individual case by case thing. This is an institutional issue going to the very top. When you can have motherfuckers, when you have literally one motherfucker in Congress here in America that's openly not a Christian, that's openly not a fucking theist of any kind, and that his whole family told him, hey, don't tell anybody that. That would be career suicide for you to tell the truth of who you are, that you're actually a sane, rational fucking person, because people are so fucking retarded that if you tell them that you actually have a sane, sound mind, people will fucking decide that you're a fucking piece of shit. That's how crazy this country has become. That's how crazy this religious garbage has become. That's the reason why when I talk about this guy, this Congressman Huffman, right? Like, it's so sad to see how a waste of a position his is, because he can't do shit. He can't even be himself. He can't even, like, he had to struggle just to say he was not a Christian. But, I mean, look at this shit. Let's go back to that article real quick. Huffman says, I'm very glad I did it, meaning actually, like, told the truth about his beliefs. But have I encountered some harsh judgments and prejudices? Absolutely. I've been called every name in the book. I have Democratic colleagues. Look at that. I have Democratic colleagues who are devout Christians who seem to take some offense at my public existence as a non-believer. They seem to feel that threatens or insults them as Christians, which is baffling, of course, because I don't have a quarrel with Christianity or Christians, but it does speak to the privileged status of Christians, not just within the Republican Party, where Christian nationalism has become a defining feature, but even among my fellow Democrats. See, that right there is a major problem. How can you sit here and say you don't have a quarrel with Christianity or Christians, but you literally just said it speaks to the privileged status of Christians, not just within the Republican Party, where Christian nationalism has become a defining feature, but even among my fellow Democrats. This is the point that I've been trying to harp on for all this time. I ask people all the fucking time, how do you think we got here? How do you think we got here? It didn't happen by accident, fam. It didn't happen by, oh, everything was so perfect and hunky-dory, and then it just went to shit out of nowhere. No, it was shit the whole time. Everybody involved was shitty. It's just that we didn't find out until so much shit happened that all of a sudden, like, motherfuckers realized, yo, this is shit. What the fuck? This is a shitty situation. This is why I'm an anti-theist. This is why I have a major problem with atheists who are not anti-theists. How you can recognize the problem of theists, because this isn't just a religious extremism problem. This is a religious problem, period. This is a religious problem. See, here's the problem. The extremists exist and gain the power because the non-extremists allow them to gain such power. That's how it happens. When you have a giant gang, right? When you have a giant gang, you have a giant individual group. The loudest of the group are the ones that become the fucking extremists, and the loudest and the fucking ones that take the power. That's how it happens. So, that's how you get the horrible actions that occur. these stories that I show y'all all the time of these Christians and whatever religion, usually Christian, these Christians that rape kids, that get caught raping kids all the fucking time, they happen because the predator found a community that's willing to protect them. But see, this isn't just an individual issue. This is an institutional issue. Fam, we're talking about the greatest child rape culture in the history of humanity. The fact that this has gone on for so fucking long, the fact that these things continue to happen constantly, the fact that, I mean, literally, damn near every day, some Christian leader is getting caught for some reason for the same shit. I mean, it's so often motherfuckers want to pay you. I mean, motherfuckers want you to pay to read the story because it happens so much. I tried to show y'all this article. I can't even show you the article from the Colorado Springs Gazette about a Thornton youth pastor convicted of child sex assault and sentenced to 13 years to life in prison. Because when you click on it, oh, what do you know? They want you to fucking pay. They want you to subscribe to continue reading. 99 cents for your first month. Fam, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is the type of shit that occurs on a constant basis. And it's just so common that it's a fucking joke, man. Like, I've said this before, that I can't comprehend how you have these predator catchers like Chris Hansen, right? They'll talk like today. Chris just released his long-awaited interview with EDP 445. We gonna watch that in the chat later. But considering how many Christians get caught for child sex abuse on a near daily basis, you would think that Chris Hansen, you know, with his brilliant marketing mind, would turn to the church and just build his fucking brand off of that. Because ain't no end in sight to the amount of Christian leaders who are preying on the youth. And for people that claim they care so much about protecting the youth, they sure do perform an odd, like, almost like going out of their way to ignore the fucking Christian church. Like, they aggressively refused. But they literally refuse to acknowledge that these fucking weirdos are constantly getting caught for the same shit. I mean, check this out. Having that internet bullshit again. Dude, I get so sick of this. Every time I click some shit and want to take its fucking time, you end up clicking it like 7 times because they ain't did shit. Now you gotta sit and wait, hoping that at some point the damn shit gonna open. That shit is so frustrating. Check it out. Anytime now. Come on. Transferring data from static.tmz.com. You see what I got to deal with, people? You see how long that took? Do y'all see how long this shit took? This shit was frustrating as fuck. My God, that was fucking frustrating as hell. By the way, R.P. Dolly Parton and Tim Curry. Anywho, check this shit out. Look at the date. 2 days ago. A Catholic school teacher allegedly abused 2 boys. A former Catholic school teacher is accused of sexually abusing 2 teenage boys nearly 40 years ago, with one claiming she behaved like she was in the Sabrina Carpenter video. Sally Ann Bowen, now 65, was in her mid-20s while teaching chemistry at an all-boys Catholic school in North London, and she allegedly had sex with one boy 20 to 30 times when he was 14 or 15, according to the Telegraph. So, I mean, like, look, this is the type of shit that occurs on the near constant basis. It doesn't fucking end. It doesn't stop. It doesn't quit. These fuckers, they always get caught for being inappropriate with the youth on a regular basis. And yet, they get so fucking much protection as if they're the least, like, offensive, the least abusive people on earth. Like, it's just some random occurrence. Like, it's some rare occurrence when children get hurt by these sci-fi fantasy fucking loonies. Instead, we find these stories constantly. I mean, constantly. And we never, ever see these fuckers, these literal fucking fucks, these literal fuckers ever being brought to justice. In fact, the opposite is true. They usually get protection of all kinds. It's like I get treated like I'm a perpetrator, like I'm a child rapist or some shit for actually addressing the literal child rapists. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand how these sci-fi fantasy fucking loonies can get caught so much for the same thing on a constant basis, despite claiming that they have this super duper, super special, super connection with the ultimate super intelligence, and yet they get caught for the same sickening behavior on a constant basis. And I get treated like I'm the horrible person for showing y'all this shit. I got kicked off of TikTok for showing y'all this shit. For literally showing this type of shit on a regular basis. I get treated like I'm the fucking evil person on earth. Like I'm the terrible person. That's why I get so mad. So fucking mad about this shit, because ultimately, what are we doing? What are we fucking doing? Because you can't sit here and claim that you care about protecting the kids, and yet you fail to address the motherfuckers who hurt kids the most. At the highest level, to such a degree that they end up having to fucking spend literally billions of dollars in restitution to the thousands upon thousands of fucking people that they raped as children. Like, I can't understand what kind of society that we have where so many people claim they care so much about the youth. And yet, I feel like I'm like the only person who covers this shit. Like, check this out, right? This is from today. Lawyer for pastor's son makes motion to consolidate 3 sex abuse charges into one case as new prosecutor takes reins. The lawyer for Christian Vargas has submitted a motion to consolidate his 3 sexual abuse charges into one case. Vargas is the son of Mark Vega, the lead pastor of Ignite Life Center Church. Vega faces a count of failing to report suspected child abuse. Police reports describe Vega using his role at Ignite Life Center to conceal several child sexual abuse incidents from legal authorities over multiple years. He and his son are both out on bond. Left is Mark Vega, right is Christian Vargas. Vargas faces 2 counts of lewd and lascivious battery against the victim under 15 and 1 count of lewd and lascivious molestation against the victim 12 through 16 while 18 plus. See, this is what I'm talking about. These are the kinds of stories that are par for the course, right? This isn't just some isolated incident. These are stories that happen all the time, every day, right? This is just one story from today. An ongoing story, a story that's been ongoing. Out of so fucking many ongoing stories, among a sea of ongoing stories, among a giant industry filled to the brim with these same type of stories all the time. It is too easy to bring up story after story after story after fucking story because these organizations engage in this behavior literally the fucking most. In fact, not only that, but we got the data to show you that. So I always show all the time this website, notinourchurch.com, who says that their mission is to help churches become unattractive environments for predatory abusers by putting awareness, prevention, and healing resources in one place. They do the research and share the resources. The only problem is, for what? For what? Fam, if Christianity was true, why would this website need to exist in the first place? Because check what it says here. The person who wrote this says, I am a survivor of pastoral, emotional, and sexual abuse. Yes, my pastor and elder of our church and my boss was an abuser. As a result, my husband and I began to study pastoral abuse and to follow social media and news reports on what seemed like a growing number of other pastoral abuse tragedies worldwide. So many churches of all denominations are impacted by abuse involving children, teens, and adults. So many pastors are not taking responsibility. So many elders are protecting the institution and not taking care of the sheep. I kept asking God, how can this happen? Why aren't churches prepared? Why aren't churches safe? We should be safe at church. I realized that our church has some safety features for the children, but didn't have any prevention or protection for adults. No policies, no reporting procedures, no investigation procedures, no training, no plan to care for the abused, nothing. That's when God impressed on my heart to build a website, to do the research and gather information on awareness, prevention, and healing and put it in one place so churches and survivors can use it. So here it is. The only problem? Churches ain't using the shit. Churches do not use this shit. Churches do not give a fuck about this shit. I mean, first of all, if the Lord was really real, for real, and meant what it supposedly said, according to its supposed fucking book, how could you be a survivor of pastoral, emotional, and sexual abuse to begin with? What is the point of even being a Christian if you have to subject yourself to potentially being emotionally and sexually abused? One would think that for such an amazing environment, an amazing community, that this amazing community would be, I don't know, safe or something, right? Like, this person asked, she kept asking God. This is the part that trips me out. She said, I kept asking God, how can this happen? Why aren't churches prepared? Why aren't churches saved? Woman, how can you ask something that doesn't exist anything? Where exactly is this God thing? This is the reason why I have a problem with Huffman and atheists like him, or non-believers. Like, I can't even assume that he's an atheist. He's a non-believer. This is my problem with them. When they declare that they're not against the religion, this is the reason why I'm against the religion. Because if the religion, if they really, forget about whether it's true, right? Even though that should be the most obvious thing in the world. If it was true, this shouldn't happen at all. The fact that it happens should delegitimize everything you have to say. But let's just say, let's put that to the side. Let's put that to the side. Let's just say they're just a fucking sci-fi fantasy fan club. They want to be, like, we can look at them like they're the fucking ancient Harry Potter fans or some shit, right? They're the fucking Lord of the Ring fans of their time. Okay, these people, they just love their fucking ancient Harry Potter series. They love their fucking ancient sci-fi fantasy fan club and their book club and all that type of shit. They just want to fan out over the sci-fi fantasy crazy shit. Okay, cool. The least they could do, right? Because let me show you this. I love to show y'all facts and data, information, statistics, okay? Another major reason why I bring this shit up is because, okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, we put the truth claim to the side. We don't care about whether it's true. They're just, they're not even acting like it's true. They're just fanning out over their favorite fucking novel and all this type of shit. Okay, cool. Well, considering the fact that they have all these resources, they have all this manpower, they have all this influence in government and leadership, you would think they would do such a much better job than what they're doing. I mean, check this out, right? I had to wait for this page to load, by the way. It's still loading. According to the World Economic Forum, even though, yes, this article is from 2017, so nearly a decade old, but it says religion may be bigger business than we thought, and here's why. And according to the article, it says religion annually contributes about $1.2 trillion of socioeconomic value to the United States economy, according to a 2016 study by the Religious Freedom and Business Foundation. That is equivalent to being the world's 15th largest national economy, outpacing nearly 180 other countries and territories. It's more than the global annual revenues of the world's top 10 tech companies, including Apple, Amazon, and Google, and it's also more than 50% larger than the global annual revenues of America's 6 largest oil and gas companies. You could say that's a lot of spiritually inspired fuel being pumped into the U.S. economy. Spiritually inspired fuel, get it? Because it's fuel, oil companies. Yeah, the Christians love their fucking retarded ass oil companies. But see, when you see a number like this, when you see the 1.2 trillion annually, right? You see a number like that. And then you see numbers like, say, this. Now, this is from Pew Research Center. Pew Research Center, showing how the decline of Christianity in the U.S. has slowed and may have even leveled off. Okay, it says right here that the latest RLS fielded over 7 months in 2023-24 finds that 62% of U.S. adults identify as Christians. That is a decline of 9 percentage points since 2014. and a 16-point drop since 2007. But for the last 5 years, between 2019 and 2024, the Christian share of the adult population has been relatively stable, hovering between 60 and 64%. The 62% figure in the New Religious Landscape study is smack in the middle of that recent range. So, okay. So, think about that. So you got $1.2 trillion of economic influence a decade ago. So you can probably believe that number might be much higher now. But let's just keep that number, 1.2 trillion. Okay, you got 62% of the population. So let's just check it out. So if we say right, the U.S. population is 342.6 million people. So we do 342.6 million times 0.62, you get 212,412,000. So 212 million fucking Christians, fam. So you got 212 million Christians. You got $1.2 trillion of annual fucking economic activity. And yet, no policies, no reporting procedures, no investigation procedures, no training, no plan to care for the abuse, nothing. But see, it gets worse. It gets worse, because check this out. It says right here, U.S. Catholic archdioceses have paid or proposed billions of dollars in financial settlements to compensate survivors of clergy sexual abuse. Many of these agreements follow state laws that temporarily allow victims to file older claims that were previously blocked by time limits. And then they show recent settlements. Strangely, they're not showing the amounts. But as you can see, 800 million in New York, 395 million in San Francisco. It was like 200 something million in Chicago. I mean, wait, hold on. Let me see. What does it say? 200 million, yeah. So this is par for the course, fam. This is normal. This is all the time. And mind you, these settlements are from this year, within the past few months. Within the past few months. This wasn't 200 years ago, 2,000 years ago. This was like 200 hours ago. Like, this shit is insanity. That the greatest perpetrators of child rape are giving literally the most protection possible. I am risking myself. I'm risking my account, my family, my views, my, everything, because I want to tell the truth. I want to tell people, hey, this is the sick shit. Fuck all the other bullshit. This is the crazy shit. Because I'm willing to bet my life that if us atheists and anti-theists had the same resources these fucking weirdos had, wouldn't be nowhere near any of this child rape crap. Not to say that it wouldn't happen. Not to say, oh, it could never happen. But unlike these psychos, well, let me only speak for myself, because I can't speak for no other retard out here. Because even my fellow atheists and anti-theists could be some retarded ass goofies. And I'll be the first to say that. I, at least, would never tolerate anybody raping anybody around me, period. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't care how close you are to me. You can be my bestest of my best. You can be my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. I don't care. I don't support that shit. And I don't tolerate that shit. I don't play that shit. Everybody keep their hands to their fucking self. If I invite you to my community, trust I'm doing everything possible to ensure your safety. And most importantly, your kids' safety. You should be able to feel comfortable having your kids around me, around my community, because you should feel safe. And not safe because I've convinced you to lower your guard. I've convinced you to lower your defenses so that I can be that much more manipulative and fucking harmful. No, I'm saying because we actually have actual safeguards in place. We have actual safety measures in place. We have an actual safety infrastructure. We have an actual a security infrastructure in place specifically to ensure your safety and the safety of your loved ones and all of us. Because why would I want to, and this is the part that's so crazy to me, because this is why I gotta show y'all the rest of this fucking website, right? Because the most important part to me are the statistics. Two in particular that I always show y'all all the fucking time. Such as this one where it says, according to the late A.W. Richard Sipe, the sexual exploitation of women by priests is not uncommon. Other researchers have argued that misconduct by clerics toward women is even more prevalent than their sexual abuse of children. According to research cited in When Pastors Pray, a publication of the World Council of Churches, 90 to 95% of victims of clergy sexual exploitation are women. This book also cites a 1984 survey of clergy in various Protestant denominations that found that 39% admitted to having sexual contact with a congregant and 12.7% had sexual intercourse with the congregant. But here's the more important stat that I need y'all to understand. And this is why I am so devout in what I do. There are studies that demonstrate that the faith community is even more vulnerable to abuse than secular environments. The Abel and Harlow study revealed that 93% of sex offenders describe themselves as religious, and that this category of offender may be the most dangerous. Other studies have found that sexual abusers within faith communities have more victims and younger victims. That is absolutely fucking crazy. That could be the case. That they can have more victims and younger victims. And yet, so many people put themselves in these communities, in these environments, where they put themselves and their children at risk of this. That's the part that sickens me. Because one of the things I found is that the majority of Christians are women. Hold on. me bring it up to you. Now, this is also from Pew Research Center, okay? From an article called The Gender Gap in Religion Around the World. Women are generally more religious than men, particularly among Christians. Globally, women somewhat more likely to affiliate with the religious faith. In 61 of the 192 countries, women are at least 2 percentage points more likely than men to have an affiliation. In the remaining countries, women and men display roughly equal levels of religious affiliation because in many cases, nearly all people of both genders identify with some religious group. There are no countries in which men are more religiously affiliated than women by 2 percentage points or more. So think about that. Among Christians, women attend religious services more often, but among Muslims and Orthodox Jews, men attend more often. But see, here's the thing, okay? So check this out. So women are more religious, particularly among Christians. Like it literally says it right here. Among Christians in many countries, women report higher rates of weekly church attendance than men. Okay, but if you juxtapose that with what I just read to you, that 90 to 95% of victims of clergy sexual exploitation are women, and that 93% of sex offenders describe themselves as religious, and that this category of offender may be the most dangerous. Why would women choose to put themselves in a position where they're a part of a religion that exploits them and their children? Why are there so many fucking people that continue to support this garbage that is clearly indefensible? If it was defensible, if it was sensible, then you should be able to make that case with me. Somebody like me, a skeptic like me. Because if you can make it make sense to me, I can make it make sense to everybody. Because I'm a sensible person. Why would I want to fucking obscure some shit that's sensible? I'm a sensible person. I subscribe to sensible ideas because I choose to be a sensible person. So if you can make it make sense to me, well, then I can accept it, right? There are plenty of things that I used to think were bunk or I used to think were useless, but then I got older, I got wiser, people were able to communicate to me why these things made sense, and now my view has changed. But we live in a time now where people subscribe to these ridiculous ass, retarded ass ideas that don't mean shit, that don't help shit, that don't comport with our literal reality, and worse, are being used to actually literally harm people, to harm society writ large. Think about all the things that I showed y'all today. Juxtapose all these things that happen. We see all these cases that occur in society all over the world. All over the world, from here in Chicago to motherfucking England, Christians are raping kids all over the place. Not only that, but the government says that, hey, even when retards are fucking confessing that they done did some crazy shit, the fuckers who received the confession don't have to say shit. They don't have to tell shit. They ain't gotta tell anybody shit. Right? They ain't gotta do shit. Right? This was the story from fucking Arizona. But I showed y'all earlier the story from fucking England. And the overarching point is, like, if Christianity was true, why would any of this even be a story? Because if the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is real, and it really does all the stuff that these loonies claim it does, then why are we here? Why am I sitting here talking about the rape culture of Christianity and their inability to protect their own kids as opposed to them just protecting their own kids? Like, it's bad enough that their entire ideology is just plain fucking false. It's just plain wrong. It's inaccurate. It doesn't comport with reality. Not a single Christian of any kind can show us the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ at all in any way, shape, or form. In any way, shape, or form. They can't show us Jesus' current location. They can't verify with actual evidence that he exists in real life somewhere, somehow. Right? They'll say retarded shit like, oh, he's in heaven. Where's heaven? Outside space and time? And they think that that's good enough until a person like me asks, oh, where outside the space and time? Show us exactly where outside the space and time this fucking weirdo can be found. Show us how we can find this weirdo outside the space and time, what mechanism you're using, what tool you're using, so that we can find this fucker so this bitch ass nigga can shut the fuck up or start talking and telling us what the fuck. Strangely, motherfuckers still can't be reached. Christians still can't seem to figure out where the fuck this goofy is at. And you get motherfuckers in the chat, well, why do they have to explain it to you? Why would they feel the need to explain anything to you specifically? I'm like, the fact that that's even a question. Like, imagine asking that question about anything else. Imagine somebody claims that they came up with the new cure for cancer, but every time you ask them, how does it work? Well, why do they feel the need to explain anything to you specifically? Was their response. Like, what are we doing here? What is the point in you sitting here telling me about, oh, you found something, you found the cure for anything, if you can't show us at all that you actually came up with the cure for something? In the same way, when theists come to us and tell us that they have this supernatural super intelligence or whatever the fuck, why would I just take your word for that? Especially when I'm seeing you tarding out, acting like a fucking tard, just saying and doing a bunch of tard shit, acting like that shit is useful somehow. And we can't even get a straight answer out of a single one of you fucking tards. And then you got the fucking nerve to be mad at me for calling you out and tarding out all day. You sitting here having convulsions like somehow that's helping society somehow, that you're fucking having an epileptic seizure or some shit because you feel super duper good about deluding yourself that some supernatural super intelligence is somehow fucking talking to your crazy ass. No, what it shows is you probably need some fucking medicine. You probably need some fucking psychological help. Either you're on something or you're off something, or it could be both. You might be off your meds and on some drugs, or you're off your drugs and on some meds that you shouldn't be doing. I don't know what the fuck. All I know is that there's too many people out here that subscribe to these ideas that are simply unjustifiable and, most importantly, useless as hell. Only useful for helping weirdos manipulate dumbasses to give their children up to be raped. That's why I do these stories. Because for a group that claims that they have the truth, they do a lot of work to prevent us from seeing their truth, right? They'll fucking say that I'm so filled with hate. I'm filled with hate because I want to see your Jesus. I want to see your Father, your Son, and your Holy Spirit. Wait, I'm a hater because I want you to show me that these aren't delusions, that this isn't some fucking scam, that this isn't some scammy behavior. Because what do I say all the time? That theism is the greatest, longest running sci-fi fantasy multi-level marketing scam in human history. These fuckers sell you a product that doesn't exist, and you have to wait until you die so you can gain the benefit. If that ain't a fucking scam, I don't know what the hell is. That's why when I start my lives, I always say, like, around here, we only care about the facts, the truth, the data, the information, the statistics, you know, things that can actually be demonstrated in real life, you know, like in real time, like while we're actually alive and sane and of sound mind. Because one thing the theists love to do, especially particularly Christians, right? Because they have this whole, like, heaven and hell bullshit. And they always love to assert that, well, you'll find out after you die. After you die. After you die. That's when you gonna find out. And I'm just like, okay, but why would we have to wait till we die? Like, why can't we find out right now? Why can't we find out right now? It is 6:16 p.m. on August the 26th, 2026. Why the fuck can't we find out today? If you have a direct access to the supernatural superintelligence, right, the all-knowing, omniscient superintelligence, then surely you could be able to put in a prompt and say, okay, how do we find out right now about what happens after we die, to your Jesus Christ GPT app, to your Father, Son, and Holy Spirit LLM, right? You can enter in the prompt, you can engage in your prompt engineering and say, Dear Jesus, the Father, and the Holy Spirit, how exactly do we save our soul? And then you can get actual answers, right? If what you're saying is true, you should be able to be provided with an answer that makes so much sense to you that you can make it make sense to me right now, to where I would be completely sold right now, because what you're saying makes so much fucking logical sense, and you can provide the data, information, statistics, evidence that would convince me right now, such that I would be content with what you're saying right now, because it would make so much sense. And then we can take that knowledge, we can take this agreement that we have, right? I join your sci-fi fantasy fan club, and then we solve major world issues. Even though I don't know why y'all weren't doing that this whole time, but hey. But that's the point. Y'all aren't doing that this whole time because y'all don't know what the hell y'all are talking about. Y'all are a part of a sci-fi fantasy fan club. That's it. It is a glorified sci-fi fantasy fan club. That's all it is. It is not the truth. It is not reality. It does not comport with reality. It does not comport with helping society. It does not help society. In fact, it hurts society in so many fucking ways. And most importantly, hurting children's buttholes, because apparently that is the most attractive thing to these fucking weirdos. And despite the 212 million fucking Christians here in America, 0 of them can demonstrate how exactly they're protecting the youth. Okay, this one lady created this weak ass fucking website, right? And here's my thing. It's not the fact that she made a website, and I would never ever try to attack somebody for trying to help kids, except if you're a part of this retarded ass community that's literally the community that hurts the kids. That's why I have a major problem, because you're sitting here trying to convince me and yourself that this shit is true, that this shit is real. You sat here and made a whole website about how you were hurt by weirdos in your church, and you're still trying to sit here and talk about God and protecting kids, not realizing that the people who are hurting the kids are the ones who could implement the solutions that you are suggesting, and they're refusing to do that. You can't sit here and say, oh, well, they didn't know any better. They're just, they just didn't, because, see, y'all claim y'all get a direct contact from the most all-knowing superintelligence of all time. So, by that alone, ignorance should never be a fucking reason. Because if you have the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ GPT app, when you enter a prompt, it should be able to give you the data, information, statistics to the best of your ability, according to your retarded ass claims. Therefore, y'all should never not be ignorant. I mean, y'all should never be ignorant. Y'all should never ever be ignorant of anything. Y'all should be more knowing than everybody, and you should be able to demonstrate and display this with knowledge, information, logic, effectiveness, actual literal effectiveness, that you can accomplish what you claim you can accomplish. That when you say, oh, you got this new elixir that can help people, or you have this new methodology to help kids, that it does that demonstrably, clearly. Theists never have that, especially Christians. They will never have that because Christianity is simply untrue. It's not true. All it takes is one single Christian, one single time to prove Christianity to be true. You mean to tell me out of 2.4 billion Christians, not a single fucking one, not one time, can show us any of this sci-fi fantasy crap? So when I go back to this article about fucking the only non-believer in Congress, right? When he says that he doesn't have a quarrel with Christianity or Christians, I don't understand that. I can't comprehend how any non-believer cannot have a quarrel with Christianity or Christians. That is absolutely asinine. Even though I have dealt with non-believers who will literally cape for Christianity more than atheism. I've literally had atheists attack me for criticizing Christianity, for saying, hey, where's the Lord? Hey, how come y'all rape kids so much? Hey, how come y'all don't work to try to, like, not rape the kids? I'll have atheists coming at me, oh, why don't you let them believe what they want to believe? Why don't you just leave them alone? But I'm like, why don't they leave the kids' butts alone? How about that? How about they leave the kids alone? Why don't they leave the women alone? What the fuck is we talking about? So, this is why we have to address the elephant in the fucking room. The problem of this sci-fi fantasy ideology. Okay, so this guy goes on to say, he defines Christian privilege as a deeply ingrained cultural taboo that protects homegrown religious radicalism from the same state and media scrutiny instantly applied to minority or foreign faiths. That Christian privilege was manifested in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, Huffman argues, when many fellow members of Congress did not even seem to notice the religious elements of the group trying to kill them. It was evident again, he asserts, in one of the most consequential political cover-ups in recent history, the deliberate erasure of Christian nationalism from the final report of the House January 6th Select Committee. As the committee raced toward its deadline at the end of 2022, its staff split into color-coded drafting teams. The quote-unquote purple team was tasked with investigating right-wing radicalism, and they meticulously documented the role of charismatic evangelical networks, particularly the NAR, the New Apostolic Reformation, in radicalizing and mobilizing the shock troops of the insurrection. Chairman Benny Thompson told Huffman, we asked the purple team to look into the role of religion and what happened, and they came back with a report that shows those people, right-wing Christian extremists, actually had a lot to do with it, but then came a veto. Liz Cheney, the committee's formidable vice chair, demanded the entire section be excised. She argued that focusing on Christian nationalism would quote-unquote distract from Trump's personal culpability and alienate conservative Christian voters. Cheney's argument prevailed. And see, this is what I'm talking about. This right here. This right here. This right here. Once again, Christianity. Because the problem isn't Christian nationalism. It's Christianity. This is what I'm trying to explain to people. Christianity is Christian nationalism. People can sit here and try to pretend like it's not, but this is what Christianity is. This is why they trample all over this. This is why they try to put the Bible over this fucking thing called the Constitution. Because to them, the Constitution don't mean shit. All these fucking goofies can recite Bible quotes for fucking days. Can't recite a line in the fucking Constitution. They can't even recite the First and Second Amendment. They don't. They can recite what they think it says, but they can't quote what it actually literally says in any way, shape, or form. We're talking about members of both parties. The loonies on the right who are such gun nuts can't comprehend that the first thing it says in the Second Amendment is a well-regulated militia. Those fucking loonies will be the least in favor of regulations. They hate regulations, and yet they claim they love the Second Amendment so much, even though it says a well-regulated militia. Now, it doesn't explain what well-regulated means, but that's beside the point. The point is that the side that claims they love the Second Amendment so much They claim they do, but then they don't. They just love guns. And this is exactly what these fucking loonies do. It's the same shit with the fucking Christians. The first thing the First Amendment literally says is, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Like, that's literally what it says. It's the first thing that it says. But let these loonies tell it. Oh no, it's totally schmodally, like, grants us religious privilege, except for the fact that we have laws guarantees they could never have religious privilege. There is no freedom of religion. The reason why these stories even exist is because they don't have the freedom to express their religious crap. Because if we gave them the freedom to express their religious crap, they'd be bombing abortion clinics every fucking day. They'd be raping children at an extreme rate right now in front of our faces right now. They'd be fucking stalking every school and raping all the kids all the fucking time, because that's what the fuck they do. At least a lot of them. And then they'd fucking like pretend like they don't know what the hell is happening. So that's why Huffman says, I give her huge credit for standing up to Trump at a time when almost no other Republicans would do it. I don't know what that means. That courage was very real, but she also did the country a huge disservice with her Christian privilege. If the attackers had worn hijabs or carried Qurans, he contends, the Select Committee report would have dissected their religious connections with surgical precision. Against this backdrop, Huffman argues that modern Christian nationalism is not a monolith, but a temporary coalition of three distinct, volatile, and historically hostile religious subcultures held together by the glue of Trump. But see, again, you're still missing the point. The problem isn't Christian nationalism. It's Christianity. There is no version of Christianity that helps anything. Christianity is simply false. It's simply inaccurate. It simply does not make any goddamn sense. It has zero reflection in reality at all. Not a single Christian of any kind under any denomination can demonstrate the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ at all. That's why they should shut the fuck up. Because if they could, they would have been shown us. And then look at this shit. This is exactly why theism is dangerous. The ultimate Theo bro is Pete Hegseth, Trump's self-styled Secretary of War, whose body is adorned with Crusader tattoos, including Deus Vult, God wills it, and the Jerusalem Cross, and who hosts a workday Secretary of Defense Christian prayer and worship service in the Pentagon Auditorium, broadcast live on Eternal Networks, which actually brings me to another article, because I could go all day about this shit, but I'm just going to show y'all one more, because it's related, and it's a direct segue. Another article I've been meaning to talk about. This AP exclusive article about how the U.S. military-based schools put new emphasis on Western civilization and Christianity. Now, we're not going to look at this whole argument, but it directly ties into what was just said, because it says the Department of Defense is introducing a course centered on Western civilization and Christianity this fall in the schools it operates for military families, part of an effort by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, the Theo Bro, to redirect the education system toward patriotic values and classical learning. The Department of Defense Education Activity operates about 160 schools across 11 countries and educates roughly 70,000 students who are children of active duty military or civilian service members. Conservatives have eyed the schools, which unlike most public schools are run by the federal government, as a testing ground for reshaping education. Yeah, that sounds like a fucking fantastic idea, doesn't it? The Western Civilization course planned for this fall will use a textbook published by Encounter Books, a conservative publishing house, titled The Golden Thread, The History of the Western Tradition, Volume 1, The Ancient World and Christendom. It includes suggested lesson plans created in partnership with Hillsdale College, a conservative Christian school in Michigan that has also developed influential materials for K-12 schools. Historians and educators who review excerpts of this text told the Associated Press it depicts points throughout history in misleading ways, representing Western civilization and Christianity as one and the same, and casting Islam as a threat to both. You've got to wonder a bit whether Western civilization is the Trojan horse for classical Christian education, said Phil Gorski, a historical sociology professor at Yale University. Look, man, I could go on forever about this topic. The fact of the matter is that these fucking psychos have these positions of leadership. When you have loonies in positions of leadership who want to rewrite history based on sci-fi fantasies, and then you have loonies that are in my chat asking why would they feel the need to explain anything to me specifically, that goes to show you the drastically deteriorated state of society, that people could just bullshit all day and shouldn't have to make sense at all. That I'm the one at fault for actually daring them to make goddamn sense. And that I'm the evil person for just having a curious mind to say, okay, well, if it's true, then why can't you show me right now? It's almost as if people don't want to know. Like they don't want to have standards. That they just want to believe some bullshit. But if I say some shit, they don't want to accept what I say. This is the part that's so crazy. When I get all these hoe-ass, bitch-made-ass theists that want to question me, well, how do you know it's not real? But what about this and what about that? And well, what if you're wrong? Well, can't you understand my faith? Imagine if they had that same energy for the people that they've been shielding for this entire time. Imagine if they had that same energy. Imagine if they asked them those same questions. Hey, where actually is God? Hey, how is God going to give me my 10% that I gave you back to me? How exactly is that going to work? Or he's going to give it back to me tenfold. How exactly am I going to get it back tenfold? Because, I mean, that was a lot of money I gave you. It would be really nice if I got it back, like right now or in the near future. And I'm not talking about, oh, the check that I earned I'm supposed to get. I'm talking about that 10% manifested tenfold that I'm supposed to get back. How is that supposed to happen? See, this is the problem. People seem to be content with being vague and ambiguous all the time. But when it comes to actual facts, data, information, statistics, specifics, especially when it's a motherfucker like me asking for clarification on those things, it's like the worst thing in the fucking world. You can be vague and ambiguous as fuck. You can say, oh yeah, one day you're gonna super duper, superly duperly be happy one day. And these loonies will buy it and eat it up 24/7. The moment you ask, well, how exactly does that work? Oh my God! How could you fucking ask that? Why are you so filled with hate? Why can't you just want me to be happy for once? I mean, I want you to be happy, but I don't want you to delude yourself into thinking you're happy when you're not. I want you to be actually happy because you have a genuine reason to be happy. How can you be happy knowing that people are fucking homeless? How can you be happy knowing that there's fucking people strung out on the street? How can you be happy knowing that children are being raped in your fucking community by your leaders that claim that they're such wonderful, amazing children of God? I don't understand it, but that's why I do what I do. Because at the end of the day, this shit doesn't make any sense. 6 billion believers, and all they have to show for it is a bunch of child rape and protection of child rapists. Ain't that some shit? But that's all I got for y'all today. I ain't gonna hold y'all for too much longer. The fact of the matter is theism is wrong, and atheism / anti-theism is the pathway towards truth. If you join the OD9 community, you can understand more what that means. But that's all I got for you today. Thank you for coming through. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn on notifications. Go to off9.com, join the Discord. That's where we're heading now, so that we can check out all this crazy shit. The EDP interview with Chris Hansen. Come join us. Hit off9.com, join the Discord. Otherwise, holler back at your motherfucking boy, man. Stay smooth and help me bring some sense to this goddamn world once and for all.